By the time I pull into our street, the evening's pretty much over for everyone else. Porch lights are on, televisions glow blue behind curtains, Harbor's End is doing its usual impression of a tranquil postcard, and there's a gleaming gray BMW in my driveway. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. It's parked where my car usually sits, neat as a trophy, nose pointed at my front door like it owns the place. I shut off the engine and just sit there for a minute, fingers on the steering wheel, watching the little raindrops bead on its hood. Nice car, not family car nice, midlife crisis nice. I already know whose it is, of course. You don't forget the car of the man who laughs too hard at your wife's jokes. Blake Turner, Regional Operations Manager. The guy who says things like, "We're a family here," in meetings, and then makes sure he gets the biggest slice of cake. Broad shoulders, fitted shirts, the kind of haircut that needs its own calendar reminders. My key fob feels heavy in my pocket. I could walk in right now. I could hit the garage door opener, let the whole cul-de-sac know the husband's home early. Instead, I lean back and watch. The house is mostly dark, just the warm rectangle of the kitchen window. Silhouettes move across it now and then. One of them is definitely Maddie. I can tell from the way she gestures, restless and wide, like a talk show host who thinks the cameras love her. I try to imagine the conversation. "Ethan's so sweet. He really is. He just doesn't get it." "I know, Maddie. You deserve more." Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're standing 6 feet apart discussing quarterly reports and the proper corporate use of spreadsheets. Maybe Blake's here because our toaster broke and he travels with spare appliances. Maybe monkeys are flying over the Harbor Mart headquarters right now in tiny suits. The thing about being a security analyst is you stop believing in coincidences long before your wife's boss starts parking in your driveway. My phone buzzes in the cup holder, a notification from the home camera system. Front door camera disconnected. Funny that. I snort under my breath. Of course it's disconnected. I installed the thing myself, tucked it up under the eave like a little, unblinking guardian. It has been faithfully recording squirrels, Amazon drivers, and the occasional drunk teenager for 2 years. It takes deliberate effort to pull the power plug. "Bold move, Maddie," I murmur. "Subtle." I scroll back through the log anyway. The last clip is from 40 minutes ago. Blake's BMW rolling into frame, headlights slicing the dusk, my porch light automatically flicking on in greeting. Then nothing. My reflection in the phone screen looks tired. Dark circles, week-old stubble. The kind of guy you'd cast as background husband number 3 in a drama. Not the main character. Not the villain. Not yet. Across the street, Doris Holloway's curtain twitches. Our resident neighborhood sentinel. Late 60s, floral robes, binoculars that probably predate cable television. If you sneeze too loudly on this block, Doris will show up with a tissue and 3 follow-up questions. She's no fan of Blake's car. I can tell by the way her mouth tightens when she sees it. She peers out for a long moment, then disappears. Somewhere in that house, she's already adding tonight's events to the internal newsletter she runs in her head. I finally open my door and step out. The air is damp and cold enough to sting my lungs. I walk up the driveway past the BMW, close enough to see the tiny flecks of road dirt on the doors, the Harbor Mart parking sticker in the windshield, the stupid little air freshener shaped like a palm tree. The kitchen laughter stops as my key hits the front lock. There's a clatter inside, chair legs, hurried footsteps. I count silently. 1, 2, 3. The deadbolt slides back. The door cracks open. Maddie appears in the gap, hair a little too perfect, lipstick a little too bright for just hanging out at home. "Ethan." She forces a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "You're early." I glance past her. The kitchen island is covered in takeout containers and a half-empty bottle of wine. 2 glasses. Blake is leaning against the counter in one of those fitted shirts, sleeves rolled up just enough to show forearms that have never lifted anything heavier than a golf club. He raises a hand in a casual hey buddy wave, like he's my neighbor borrowing sugar. Long day, I say. Traffic was kind. Maddie steps aside. Come in. Her tone says, don't make a scene. I walk into my house, yes, my house, and set my bag down by the stairs. The air smells like garlic, red sauce, and whatever cologne Blake bathes in. Something expensive that tries very hard to smell effortless. Ethan, man, Blake says. We were just going over some ideas for the coastal rebrand. I had a few thoughts, figured we'd brainstorm, you know? My gaze flicks to the coffee table in the living room. No laptop, no notes, just an empty wine glass and Maddie's heels kicked off in a corner. Brainstorming, I repeat. Sure. Maddie's laugh is a little too sharp. Don't be weird, Ethan, we work together. I'm not weird. I'm cataloging the disconnected camera, the extra glass, the way his jacket is hanging on the back of my chair. I didn't say anything, I reply. Yet. Blake's smile trembles for half a second, then snaps back into place. I should probably head out, though. Early start tomorrow. Of course he should. He grabs his jacket and phones, nods at me on his way to the door like a man leaving a staff meeting. Good to see you, he says. I step aside. You too. As he passes, I catch a faint whiff of wine and something sweatier under the cologne. Not exactly the smell of strategic planning. When the door closes behind him, the house shrinks by about 30%. Maddie leans on the counter, arms folded. You're being rude. I'm exhausted, I say. Rude comes later, after coffee. Her eyes narrow. She's trying to decide if I'm going to explode or not. We both know I won't. It's not my style. I don't throw plates. I don't shout. I collect information. Doris is probably already writing a report, I add, nodding toward the front window. Maddie rolls her eyes. Oh, please. She thinks everybody is doing something scandalous. She once told me our garbage cans were too full for a respectable couple. Maybe she just likes patterns, I say. Full cans, unfamiliar cars, broken camera feeds. Her gaze flicks to the hallway where the camera hub is. Too fast, too guilty. She masks it a heartbeat later, but I've seen it. The Wi-Fi's been weird, she says. You know that. Sure, I reply. The Wi-Fi tripped, unplugged the hub, and invited your boss over for pasta. Her cheeks flush. You're being paranoid. I look at her for a long time. The woman I married is still standing there. Same green eyes, same nervous habit of twisting her ring when she lies. Behind her, the sink is full of plates that never made it to a dinner table set for 3. Maybe, I say. It's been a long week. She softens immediately. That's the thing about Maddie. She's always been good at switching scenes. Tilt the head, soften the eyes, change the script. Eat something, she says. You look like you're about to pass out. She reheats leftover pasta, fusses over me, talks about a new campaign launching at work. She's animated, quick, full of that high-gloss marketing energy. Every now and then, she drops Blake's name with an easy familiarity. Blake thinks, Blake said. Blake wants. I nod at the right moments, chew, smile. On the outside, I'm the tired, grateful husband. On the inside, there's a little man taking notes and pinning them to a corkboard. Later, after she goes upstairs to shower, I sit at the kitchen table and open her tablet. I know the passcode. She's never bothered to change it. Trust, she calls it. I call it oversight. I'm not hunting for anything specific. I don't even think I'll find something tonight. There's a limit to how clumsy a person can be. Apparently, we haven't reached it yet. Her messages are mostly harmless. Group chats, memes, endless discussions about drama at the office. Then I find a thread tucked into a folder with a bland name. Project Notes. It's not notes. The last message on the screen is from 3 nights ago. B. Last night was worth the risk. Same time next week? Her reply sits right under it. M. Promise you'll keep me from thinking about everything else. The tablet is suddenly very heavy in my hands. I don't slam it down. I don't march upstairs and demand explanations. I just breathe, slow and steady. I scroll back far enough to see that this isn't a one-off. Careful phrasing, suggestive emojis, meeting times that line up perfectly with evenings she complained about emergency campaigns. I lock the screen and set the tablet back exactly where I found it. On the walk back home, I'd thought maybe I was being unfair. Maybe the BMW meant nothing and the camera feed was a glitch. Now I know better. I also know something else. At work, I deal with logs and patterns. I watch for intrusion attempts, for repeated failures, for someone trying the same door a little too many times. The trick isn't to panic at the first sign of trouble. The trick is to wait long enough to map the whole thing. Tonight isn't an explosion. It's a data point. Around midnight, when Maddie's breathing evens out beside me, I slip out of bed and go to the garage. My laptop wakes up with a faint glow. The little man with the corkboard in my head starts pinning things up faster now. I open a secure folder of files I started collecting 2 months ago. Bank statements, copies of the lease, the original paperwork from when we bought the house. My emails with Jordan, the lawyer I told Maddie was just helping a friend from work. The preliminary draft of a separation agreement, buried in a pile of unrelated documents. I add screenshots from tonight's message thread to the collection. I drag them into a new folder called Maddie, Timeline. Then I open a fresh document, title, Contingency Plan. The cursor blinks at the top of the page, waiting. I think about the BMW in my driveway, the disconnected camera, the message about worth the risk. For the first time, the thought crosses my mind that I am not the extra in somebody else's story. I'm not the background husband, the punchline. If they're going to rewrite my life without telling me, I might as well take a red pen to their draft too. My fingers start to move. By the time I close the laptop, the first version of the plan is there. It's rough, full of gaps, but the bones are solid. A few weeks from now, when Blake parks in my driveway again, I won't just be watching from inside my car. I'll be ready. The next morning starts with the polite little buzz of my alarm and the not-so-polite throb behind my eyes. Maddie is already out of bed. The dent where she slept is cool, sheets thrown back like she left in a hurry. I lie there for a moment, staring at the ceiling fan, listening. Downstairs, cabinets open and shut. The coffee machine gurgles. Her voice hums along with a pop song on the kitchen speaker. Cheerful, smooth, completely at odds with the folder named Maddie, Timeline currently sitting on my laptop. I get up, shower, put on my work clothes. I look like a normal man getting ready for a normal day, which is fun, because nothing about this is normal anymore. When I walk into the kitchen, Maddie is leaning on the island scrolling her phone, a mug in one hand. The smell of coffee and toasted bagel fills the room. "There you are," she says. "I thought you'd bailed on work." "Tempting," I reply. "Apparently, I still enjoy paying the mortgage." She gives a little laugh, like that's cute. There's a slice of avocado on her plate, fanned out like a magazine photo. She always said she hated basic brunch trends. Somewhere along the way, she turned into one. She watches me pour coffee. "You came to bed really late. Everything okay?" I stir in cream. "Just catching up on some things." She tilts her head. "Work things?" "Mostly," I say. "Some housekeeping." If she hears the double meaning, she doesn't show it. She puts her phone face down, which is fascinating, because she never used to do that. Once upon a time, Maddie left her phone everywhere. Couch cushions, bathroom counter, buried in her purse under 3 tubes of lipstick. People who have nothing to hide rarely worry about angles. "I've been thinking," she says, and that's never promising. "About us, about where we are." I take a sip. "That sounds like a fun casual topic for 7:30 a.m. She lets that roll off. "I'm serious, Ethan. We're stuck. You're stuck. You hate that job, and you refuse to look for anything else. You just coast." There it is. We've arrived at the part of the conversation where my life is a disappointing Netflix category she can't find anything new in. I don't hate my job, I say. I understand my job. Big difference. You're underpaid and undervalued, she insists. Meanwhile, you talk about network logs like they're a hobby. You're smarter than that. I'm very flattered you think my talents are wasted, I say. Is this the part where you tell me what I should be doing instead? She exhales sharply. You know what I mean. There's more out there than this town, this street, this house. Her hand makes a vague gesture that somehow manages to insult the entire block. I nod toward the window. Careful. Doris might file a complaint with the homeowners association. I'm serious, she repeats. We're not 22 anymore. I want more. More what? I ask. More money? More travel? More meetings? Her eyes flick up, sharp. Excuse me? Late meetings, I clarify. Strategic brainstorming with your manager. Pasta nights. That kind of more. For half a second, I see it. Guilt, like a crack across the surface. Then she pastes on annoyance instead. You're doing that thing again, she says. What thing? Twisting everything, she snaps, making me feel like I'm the villain because I want us to have a better life. Villain. That's an interesting word to hear at breakfast. I'm not twisting anything, I say pleasantly. I'm just trying to keep up. Last I checked, we were a team. She laughs, short and humorless. Sometimes I feel like I'm dragging a sandbag around, Ethan. I'm out here pushing, trying, networking, and you're just in your corner tinkering with code. Sandbag. Good. That's going on the corkboard. I didn't realize I'd been upgraded from husband to gym equipment, I say. Do I at least tone your arms? You're doing it again, she repeats. This is why I can't talk to you about anything serious. You make jokes, you shrug, you disappear into your laptop, you act like nothing's wrong, and I'm just dramatic. And you're not? Slips out before I can stop it. Her jaw tightens. I'm done with this conversation. She picks up her phone, grabs her mug, and moves past me. As she passes, I say quietly, You unplugged the front camera. She freezes. What? Yesterday, I continue, like I'm talking about the weather. The hub was disconnected right before your brainstorming session. Interesting coincidence. Her shoulders tense, then relax. She turns, eyes wide with practiced innocence. Maybe it glitched, she says. You're always saying the hardware is old. I said the software needs updates, I reply. The hardware is fine. She shrugs. Then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe a squirrel did it. A squirrel. That's cute. Right, I say. Smart squirrel. She stares at me a moment longer, as if waiting for me to push. I don't. I take another sip of coffee and look past her out the window. Doris is on her porch in a robe that could stop traffic, watering her potted plants like she's interrogating them. Maddie finally snorts. You're ridiculous, she says, and heads upstairs to finish getting ready. Ridiculous is also going on the corkboard. Work is a windowless room with too much humming equipment and not enough natural light. The perfect habitat for people like me. I swipe my badge, greet the sleepy guard, and slip into my cube. My inbox is a mess of alerts and reminders, but my eyes keep drifting to the folder labeled Personal on my desktop. It's bland enough to be ignored by anyone else. Inside, it's a neat little archive of our life in numbers and timestamps. I open a log window instead. If I start the day digging into my own marriage instead of the company's security issues, I probably cross some professional line even I don't want to think about. Still. While my scan runs, I pull out my phone and scroll to the contact for Jordan Hale. We met years ago when a friend at work went through a rough split. Jordan handled the case with a calm ruthlessness that impressed me. I added their number to my phone for just in case, never thinking I'd actually call. Just in case has arrived. I type, Hey, it's Ethan Cole. Remember we spoke a while back about some hypothetical questions? Might be time to upgrade to non-hypothetical. Can we schedule a consult? I stare at the message for a second, then hit send. My chest feels lighter and heavier at the same time. Almost immediately, the phone buzzes. Of course, Ethan. This week or next, in person is best. We pick a time for Friday afternoon. I slip my phone away as my supervisor walks by, nodding. Hours later, after firewall reports and a lunch that tastes vaguely of cardboard and regret, I step outside. The day is gray with a fine mist coming off the harbor. Harbor's End smells like salt and rust. On my drive home, I find myself taking the long route, past the old pier. The amusement park there was once the pride of the town. Now it's a skeleton, faded rides, a shuttered funhouse, a souvenir shop that sells more lottery tickets than trinkets. In summer, tourists still wander through, chasing nostalgia and cheap thrills. In early spring, it just looks tired. I park anyway. The boardwalk creaks under my feet as I walk. Seagulls scream overhead. A few locals hunch in jackets, smoking, scrolling their phones, ignoring everything. I stop near the rusted gate of the funhouse. The peeling sign still promises laughs for the whole family. You hear that, Maddie? I mutter. We could have saved a fortune on couples therapy. A breeze comes off the water, cold and damp. I pull my jacket tighter, lean on the railing and look at the horizon. I used to bring Maddie here when we first started dating. We would walk the boardwalk holding hands, sharing fries from a paper cup, talking about everything we were going to do. We weren't going to be like our parents, stuck in the same town forever. We were going to travel, move, chase big things. Somewhere along the line, we turned into she. My phone buzzes in my pocket again. This time it's from Private Investigations, Harborside, the discreet little firm I contacted a couple of weeks ago. Mr. Cole, your requested activity summary is ready. Do you prefer email or physical copy? I stare at the message. My thumb hovers over the options. Email is easy to hide in plain sight. Physical copy feels more concrete. Email is fine, I type. Password protect the file. Use same code as last time. Last time was when they sent me a test packet to prove they were legit, a tiny report about my own commute. On Tuesday, you stopped at the gas station on Elm for 10 minutes. On Thursday, you took a different route home and sat outside the pier for 20. Seeing my life reduced to timestamps was unsettling. Seeing Maddie's is probably going to be worse. On instinct, I open my work email right there on the boardwalk. The report is waiting, zipped and passworded, neat as a tax form. I enter the code and the file opens. For a few seconds, my brain refuses to process the text. It's like reading a language that looks familiar but doesn't click. Then the names and locations rearrange themselves into meaning. Tuesday. Meeting with B. Turner, concluded at 6:12 p.m. GPS tracked to Harbor's End Lodge at 6:23 p.m. Vehicle remained on site until 8:47 p.m. Harbor's End Lodge is not known for its conference facilities. Thursday, office departure with B. Turner at 7:01 p.m. Arrival at Seaview Apartments at 7:19 p.m. Exit logged at 9:03 p.m. Witness statement from neighbor, redacted notes, laughing, clinking glasses, music. The report goes on. Nothing graphic, just locations, times, patterns. I scroll to the end. Summary. Observed pattern of frequent off-hours visits between M. Cole and B. Turner, primarily at Harbor's End Lodge and Seaview Apartments. Dates overlap with occasions client-reported spouse claiming late campaigns and urgent meetings. The seagulls scream again. It sounds like laughter. I close the file, lock my phone, and put it back in my pocket. It's not that I didn't expect this. You don't hire a private investigator because you think everything is fine. But there's a difference between suspicion and confirmation, between a knot in your gut and a sentence in black and white. I stay there a while, watching waves smash against the rotting pylons of the pier. They hit, retreat, hit again, persistent, predictable. If I were the kind of man who believes in symbolism, I'd say something about that. Instead, I turn and head back to my car. Dinner that night is takeout again. Maddie has a new story about work. They're talking about a regional push, she says, spearing a piece of broccoli with her fork. Blake thinks I should be part of it. He says I'm integral to the brand voice. Wow, I say. Integral. She glows a little. Compliments from Blake hit different, apparently. It could mean real advancement, she goes on. More responsibility, maybe relocation. The company's been considering expanding into other states for years. Here we are. Relocation, I repeat. That's big. Yeah. She's watching me closely now. It could be a chance to get out of this place, Ethan. To start fresh. Better pay, better connections, better everything. Better manager, I say. She rolls her eyes. Not everything is about him. Of course not, I agree. He's just integral to the brand voice, and apparently the floor plan. Her expression tightens. Why are you like this? I lean back in my chair. Like what? Small, she says. The word lands between us like something dropped from a height. You joke about everything. You never take risks. You act like the town is a prison and then cling to it like a security blanket. I like knowing where things are, I say. It's handy when people start moving them around without saying anything. She pushes her plate away with more force than necessary. The fork rattles. You know what? She says. Maybe you just don't fit into what I'm trying to build. There it is. No metaphors this time. Just a clean slice. I look at her. Really look at her. The woman sitting across from me is not the same girl I took on the Ferris wheel at this very pier 10 years ago. That girl was ambitious, yes, but she grabbed my hand and kissed my cheek when the car swung high, giddy at the view even though it was just harbor lights and a parking lot. This woman is measuring me against a spreadsheet in her head and finding the numbers unsatisfactory. So I'm... what? I ask quietly. A bad investment? Her lips curl. Emotionally, financially, professionally? You've become an anchor, Ethan, and not the romantic kind. I let that hang in the air. Anchor, small, sandbag. I can practically hear the pins on the corkboard snapping into place. I see, I say. That's it? She looks incredulous. You see? That's all you have to say? What would you like me to do? I ask. Throw the table? Deliver a grand speech? Beg? That's the problem, she says. You never fight for anything. She gets up and starts loading dishes into the dishwasher. The clack of ceramic on metal is louder than it needs to be. You know what Blake said? She tosses over her shoulder. He said a little pressure makes people show their true colors. Maybe this is yours. I swallow the first answer that comes to mind. It tastes sour. Instead, I say, maybe. She slams the dishwasher door shut like a period at the end of a sentence. I'm going to bed, she says. I have an early meeting. With the brand voice? I ask. She doesn't look back. Grow up, Ethan. Later, when the house is quiet and the dishwasher hums to itself, I sit at the kitchen table with my laptop. The screen glows on my tired face. I open the contingency plan document. The cursor blinks, patient, unjudging. Under the heading Assets, I list everything we share: house, car, joint accounts. Under Liabilities, I list the same, plus the emotional mortgage I've apparently been dragging around for years. Then, I add a new heading: Leverage, PI report, messages, tablet, camera logs, when working, Doris's observations, if needed. It looks clinical written out like that, like a case file, which I suppose it is. An email notification pops up from Jordan. Looking forward to our meeting Friday. Bring any financial records and communications that seem relevant. We'll go over potential strategies. Strategies, like a campaign. Maddie would appreciate the branding. Before I close the laptop, I check Maddie's shared calendar. She made me subscribe years ago so we wouldn't double-book social things. I doubt she remembers I still have access. Most of it is standard: content reviews, team syncs, Product launches. One entry, 3 weeks from now, catches my eye. Strategic planning retreat. Coastal markets. Location, out-of-state resort. Attendees, M. Cole, B. Turner. No other names, no larger team. A 3-day event. I sit back, absorbing that. 3 days away. With him, at a resort. Presented as work. Probably paid for by the company. I click on the details. There's a note from Blake. We'll finalize the proposal there. Excited to get focused time. I resist the urge to scroll down further. At some point, it stops being gathering evidence and starts being self-harm. I add a new line in the contingency plan document. Retreat, 3 days, window of opportunity. Opportunity for what exactly? I'm not sure yet. But the shape is forming in my mind. A trip she thinks will move her life forward, and a trip that might move mine somewhere she didn't plan for. I close the laptop. Down the hall, Maddie is already asleep, or pretending to be. The house is dark, quiet, familiar. For now. The work trip isn't glamorous. It's fluorescent lights, windowless conference rooms, and a logistics center that smells like cardboard, diesel, and the collective exhaustion of everyone forced to be there. I'm in Clearwater, a full state away, because my company insists that on-site evaluation fosters cross-team synergy. What it really fosters is a lot of people pretending to care about printer security while silently planning their dinner escape. The hotel is one of those business chain places that tries very hard to look upscale but can't hide the underlying beige. The carpet pattern is the same in every hallway. The art is mass-produced. The complimentary breakfast tastes like it was negotiated during a budget meeting. And yet, being here is oddly calming. No Maddie, no Blake, no BMW in my driveway. No forced conversations about brand voice. Just me, my laptop, and 1,000 miles of breathing room. By the time I get back to my room after the day's sessions, it's past 9. My badge is digging into my neck, my shoulders ache, and I want nothing more than to collapse on the mediocre mattress and watch mindless television. Instead, I open my laptop and check the contingency plan. I reorganize a few bullet points, add a timestamp, delete an earlier idea that now seems too soft. It's strange how quickly your brain adapts to planning your own escape, or someone else's fall. My phone buzzes. I expect a work notification, or maybe Maddie asking if I remembered to pay the gas bill. Instead, her name flashes on the screen. I hesitate for a second before answering. "Hey," I say. "Everything okay?" There's a rustle, like she's walking or pacing. Then her voice, bright, cheerful in a way that immediately puts me on edge. "Oh, Ethan. Yes, everything's great. I just wanted to update you on something." "Okay." I sit on the edge of the bed. "What's up?" She inhales, like she's about to deliver news on a morning show. "So, by the way, we moved to another state. Forgot to tell you." I blink. The sentence doesn't compute at first. It's too ridiculous, too casual, too structured like a joke with no punchline. "You... what?" I ask. "Mm-hmm," she hums. "Blake found a place that's perfect for the transition. It's really nice, bright, modern, close to everything. We're going to stay there until the company finalizes the expansion. It's temporary. Mostly. Maybe. I don't know." She laughs lightly, like she's discussing the weather. Like this is all perfectly normal. I stand up, walk to the window, and push aside the curtain. Outside, the hotel parking lot glows under yellow lights. A couple walks to their car. A man smokes alone near the dumpster. The world spins exactly as it did 10 seconds ago, but mine has tilted. "We?" I ask. She sighs like I'm being slow. "Ethan, don't make this dramatic. The opportunity came fast. I needed to act. Blake and I coordinated everything so the transition will be smooth. You always said you hated this town. Now we're ahead of the curve." I close my eyes. 5 seconds pass. 5 seconds where I let the anger rise and settle. Let the stupidity of the moment crystallize. Let the shock harden into something cold and focused. Then I say calmly, "All right, good luck." There's a pause on the line. I can practically hear her eyebrows lifting. "That's it?" she says. "Good luck? Really?" "Yes." "You're not upset?" I look at my reflection in the dark hotel window. I look calm. Too calm. A man who has stepped off the edge of something and realized the fall doesn't scare him anymore. "Not upset," I repeat. "Just adjusting." She scoffs. "You always do this. You check out. You make it impossible to talk about anything real." "I'm talking," I say. "You're the one who made a life-changing decision without mentioning it first." "Oh my God," she groans. "It was a strategic opportunity, Ethan. You wouldn't understand. You never do." "That's possible." Another pause. Longer this time. "Anyway," she says, "you can catch up when you're back. We'll figure out what you want to do about the house and everything else. Maybe you can transfer. Maybe you can join later. I don't know. Just think about it." I glance at the folder on my laptop labeled Maddie, Timeline, at the subfolder labeled Legal, filled with documents Jordan helped draft, at the PDF titled Separation, Preliminary. "Oh," I say, "I've already been thinking." She doesn't hear it, or she ignores it. "Okay," she says, "I have to go. Busy day tomorrow. Big pitch with Blake." Of course she does. "Sure," I reply. "Have a good night." The call ends. The room feels heavier, like gravity increased by a few degrees. I sit on the bed, phone in hand, staring at her name on the screen until it fades. Moved to another state. Forgot to tell me. Strategic opportunity. It's almost beautiful in a deranged way. The simplicity of the betrayal. The arrogance of assuming I would just wait politely for instructions, like a dog left at home with a bowl of water. Slowly, deliberately, I open my laptop again. I compose an email. The recipient is a familiar name, someone Maddie used to mention occasionally when complaining about filing paperwork, her attorney. Subject line, regarding relocation and marital assets. I attach a single document. A document she never expected. A document Jordan and I have been refining for weeks, tightening every clause, every exit route, every legal angle connected to abandonment, separation, and asset division. It's not final, not yet, but it's enough to shift the ground under her feet. My thumb hovers for a fraction of a second. Then I click, send. The whoosh of the outgoing email sounds almost gentle. 24 hours later, Maddie calls me 17 times. I don't answer any of them. She still doesn't know what I attached. When my plane lands, the sky over Harbor's End is the color of wet concrete, a perfect match for my mood. I turn my phone off airplane mode. Notifications flood in like a broken dam. 17 missed calls, 6 voicemails, a handful of texts that begin politely, then shift into panic, then slide into something close to rage. I don't open any of them. I don't need to. I know exactly which part of the document hit her first. Abandonment clause. It's incredible how quickly legal language scrapes the gloss off a person. Maddie spent weeks rehearsing her pitch to Blake about strategic relocation, carefully sculpting the narrative of her new life. Meanwhile, one well-placed document cut the stage lights. That's the thing about checks and balances. They work beautifully once someone actually sets them in motion. The rideshare drops me at our house. The sky spits cold drizzle, the kind that soaks your clothes without making a dramatic scene. My driveway feels emptier than usual, which is ironic, considering it's been hosting guest vehicles more often than my own lately. The front door is locked. That's normal. What isn't normal is the faint echo when I step inside. The house sounds hollow. I set my suitcase down and do a slow circuit of the living room. The decorative pillows are gone. The framed photo from our anniversary trip is missing. 2 of the bookshelves look strangely bare. She didn't take everything. That would require honesty, but she took enough. In the kitchen, the fruit bowl is empty. The spice rack is half full. My favorite skillet is gone, which feels like a low blow, considering I'm the one who used it. Upstairs, the closet confirms what I already suspected. She cleared out clothes, shoes, makeup, toiletries, not everything, but enough to feel like someone erased pieces of themselves with a rushed hand. I stand in the doorway, hands in my pockets, absorbing the scene. It isn't grief I feel. It's something steadier, cooler. A clarity I didn't know I had. My phone buzzes. This time it's Jordan. I answer. "Hey, you're back in town?" Jordan asks. "Just walked in the door." "Good. Brace yourself. Her attorney called me this morning." I smile faintly. "How loud?" "Loud," Jordan says, amused. "Apparently Maddie didn't tell them she was leaving the state, so they assumed your document was some kind of tactical bluff. Then they checked timestamps on her own communications. It became clear very quickly that it wasn't a bluff. Expected. Oh, there's more." Papers shuffle on Jordan's end. "She didn't just relocate. She used joint funds for the move. Several charges came through yesterday." I let out a slow breath. "How much?" "Enough to matter. But since she relocated without notice, and since you filed intent based on the abandonment clause, the spending just became part of the evidence." I glance around the hollow house. "Good," I say quietly. "Let it be part of it." After the call, I head downstairs to the garage. I'm about to lift my suitcase into storage when I hear it. The faint scrape of a shoe on hardwood. I freeze. Someone's in the house. The footsteps aren't coming from the garage. They're in the hallway, slow, purposeful. Whoever it is isn't trying to hide. I step out from behind the car, move silently to the door, and ease it open. Blake Turner stands in my hallway. He's holding one of our framed photos, tilting it back and forth like he's evaluating whether it's worth taking. His shirt is rolled at the sleeves, and he has the smug serenity of someone who believes he's entitled to be wherever he wants. He looks up and startles, only slightly, like a man caught borrowing a tie, not trespassing. "Oh," he says. "Hey, Ethan. Didn't know you'd be home this early." My voice stays calm, smooth. "Why are you in my house, Blake?" He holds up a hand like he's explaining a simple misunderstanding. "Maddie asked me to grab a few things she forgot. She didn't want to bother you." "Interesting," I say, "considering she already bothered my legal team." He frowns, confused. "What?" I don't answer. Instead, I walk forward and take the photo frame out of his hand. Gently, calmly. Then I set it on the console table. His eyes narrow. "Look, man, I don't want trouble. I'm just trying to help." "That's generous of you," I say. "Since you've helped yourself to quite a lot lately." He stiffens. "Let's not make this ugly." "You walked into my house without permission," I say. "It's already ugly." He squares his shoulders, trying to reclaim authority. "Maddie has the right to her things." "And she has the right to ask for them herself," I reply. "Not send her manager to break and enter." His posture falters at the phrase break and enter. Good. Maybe he's smarter than he looks in tailored shirts. Actually, no, that's optimistic. I step closer, lowering my voice. "Get out." He tries to brush past me, a confident shoulder bump like I'm supposed to move aside automatically. I don't. He hits me chest first, surprised when I don't give ground, and stumbles a half step. Then something in me finally clicks. I grab his arm and shove him back. Not hard enough to injure anything, just hard enough that he slams into the hallway wall with a dull sound. A frame tilts. His phone falls out of his hand and skitters across the floor. He looks up at me, stunned. For a moment he sees me, not the quiet husband, not the man who smiles politely at company events, not the background character, someone else. "Touch my things again," I say softly, "and I'll make the next part less gentle." A flush rises along his neck. He bends down, snatches his phone, and backs toward the door. "This isn't necessary," he mutters. "You're overreacting." I smile. "That's the fun part, Blake. I haven't even started reacting." His jaw tightens. He opens the front door and storms out onto the porch. The moment the door closes, the house goes quiet. I inhale slowly. Exhale. Calm returns like a tide. Then I turn and see a pair of eyes in the window. Doris Holloway, wrapped in a floral robe, holding a watering jug that she is absolutely not using right now. She gives me a firm, knowing nod. I nod back. Her eyes widen, and she mouths, "Finally." I almost laugh. By evening, more fallout arrives. Jordan calls again. "Brace yourself," they say. "Her attorney is asking for an urgent meeting. They're alarmed." "Good," I say. "Let them stay alarmed." "And Maddie?" Jordan asks. "She'll be calling again," I reply. "Eventually, she'll stop pretending she has leverage." There's a pause. Then Jordan says, more seriously, "Ethan, you've handled this with impressive control, but remember, don't escalate anything physical. Keep everything clean." "I'm clean," I say. "He walked into my house. I simply corrected his direction." Jordan sighs. "Just stay careful." When the call ends, I sit at the kitchen table in the half-empty room, listening to the hum of the refrigerator. There is a quiet satisfaction settling in my chest. Not joy, not triumph. Alignment. The world is finally shifting into the shape it should have taken months ago. My wife moved to another state without telling me. My house is half empty. Her lover just discovered I'm not furniture. And now, their perfect plan, new city, new roles, new life, has been hit with a legal hammer they didn't see coming. But we're not done. Not even close. Because tomorrow morning, I'm traveling to their new state. And I'm not going there to reconcile. I'm going there to watch everything they built collapse from the front row. And maybe give it a little push. The highway looks different when you're driving toward the ruins of your marriage instead of away from them. The air feels thinner. The music sounds wrong. Even the GPS seems hesitant, like it wants to ask, "Are you sure?" I drive anyway. It's a 5-hour trip, long enough for doubt to rise and fall in waves. But each time I picture Maddie packing up our life with Blake, laughing, planning, decorating a future I wasn't invited into, the doubt dissolves. By the time I reach the outskirts of their new city, I'm steady again. Their apartment complex is one of those modern suburban builds with clean facades, manicured shrubs, and a leasing office that smells like citrus and ambition. Not luxurious, but curated to feel like the first step toward a more photogenic life. Fitting. I don't go in. That would be dramatic, and drama is Maddie's specialty, not mine. Instead, I check into a short-term furnished rental 1 block away, the kind of place consultants use when they say phrases like "action items" and "circle back." From my balcony, I can see the entrance to their building. Perfect. The next morning, I sit in the rental's tiny cafe-style kitchen, nursing coffee and scrolling local gossip groups. One post catches my eye. "Whoever keeps arguing on their balcony at midnight, please find a quieter hobby." Timestamps match the evening they moved in. Another post. "Anyone else hear loud music and throwing noises from Unit 2B? Hope everything is okay?" Unit 2B. Their unit. Already making a reputation for themselves. I step out onto the balcony with binoculars. Nothing high-tech, just standard sporting goods store quality. I watch the building for a few minutes, unseen. At 9:17 a.m., Maddie emerges in a fitted blazer, hair perfect, expression strained. She walks fast, tapping her phone furiously. Blake follows 3 minutes later, looking like a man who slept poorly and blames the world for it. They don't walk together. Interesting. I note the time. Patterns matter. Around noon, I head to a nearby coffee shop. It's a sleek establishment with motivational quotes on the walls and pastries priced like luxury goods. I grab a seat by the window, sip my overpriced drink, pretend to read emails. The door chimes. Someone enters. I look up casually and freeze. It's Laura Turner, Blake's wife, the real one. I'd only seen her in photos while gathering evidence, but she's unmistakable. Poised, sharp-eyed, wearing a tailored coat and sunglasses she doesn't remove as she scans the room. Then her gaze lands on me. For a moment, we simply study each other, two people orbiting the same disaster. She approaches my table. "Ethan Cole?" she asks quietly. I nod. "Laura." She sits without waiting to be invited. Her smile is thin. "I figured you'd show up," she says. "That obvious?" "Your wife posted a picture of her fresh start." Blake never untagged me from old posts. It wasn't hard to connect the dots. She pulls out her phone and shows me the photo in question. Maddie on the balcony of the new apartment, beaming, holding a wine glass. Blake in the background, half turned away, mid-argument with someone out of frame. Perfect. "So," she says, sliding her phone away, "what's your plan?" I tilt my head. "What makes you think I have one?" "Oh, please," she scoffs. "You look like a man who already built a spreadsheet for the apocalypse." I can't help a small smile. "You're not wrong." She leans forward. "Blake didn't just cheat on me. He tanked a major client contract by ignoring deadlines. When he moved out, he took some of my expensive kitchen appliances. To impress another woman, apparently." I blink. "He stole your appliances?" She nods grimly. "My mixer, my blender, and my espresso machine." "That's bold." "That's petty," she corrects. "I respect petty, but I prefer strategic." She folds her hands. "So, are we working together, or are we stepping on each other's sabotage?" I sit back, studying her. She's sharp, angry, and controlled, a better ally than I expected. "We're not stepping on each other," I say. "Not yet." Her smile widens. "Good." That evening, I return to my rental, grab a hoodie, and walk casually toward their apartment complex. Timing is everything. Maddie usually gets home around 7:30. Blake often follows 10 minutes later, probably after circling the complex to practice his confident stride entrance. I slip into the parking garage just before him. It's dim, echoing, with the faint smell of oil and damp concrete. Perfect acoustics for the kind of conversation we're about to have. Blake's BMW pulls in. He parks, checks his reflection in the rear view, adjusts his collar, then steps out, keys dangling from one finger like a fashion accessory. I wait until he's locking the door, then approach from behind a pillar. "Nice car," I say. He jumps, spinning. "Ethan? What are you doing here?" "Oh, tourism." His eyes dart around. "Did Maddie tell you to come?" "No," I say. "This is a personal visit." Before he can react, I step closer and drag my key across the length of his BMW, a clean, deep line of silver on metallic gray. He makes a strangled noise. "What are you— Stop! Are you insane?" I tilt my head. Probably a bit. Hard to say. Married men tend to get unpredictable after discovering their wives, and their managers have been enjoying extended workplace mentorship. His jaw tightens. "You're overreacting." "Usually," I agree. "But not today." He lunges forward, grabbing my arm. It's clumsy, fueled by anger, not skill. I twist free easily and shove him backward. He stumbles into the side of the car, the impact echoing through the garage. A few more scratches won't hurt. Well, not the car anyway. Blake glares, breathing hard. "If you touch me again, You'll what?" I step closer, lowering my voice. "Report me? To whom? HR? Because I'd love for them to open an investigation. Really, I'd love it." He pales. I keep going. "You think you understand leverage," I say. "You don't. Maddie doesn't either, but you're both about to learn." A single drop of sweat runs down his temple. The first sign he realizes I'm not playing anymore. And not yelling, not unhinged, not emotional. Just surgical. "You can't ruin us," he says weakly. "Funny," I reply. "You already ruined yourselves. I'm just making sure the lighting is good." I pick up his keys from where they fell during the shove, toss them toward him, and turn away. He doesn't move until my footsteps fade. On my walk back to the rental, My phone buzzes. A message from Laura. We should talk. There's something you don't know about their move. Something important. I stop walking. Something important. I text back. Tell me. A moment passes. Then her reply appears. They didn't move for love or for excitement. They moved because Blake was promised a major promotion and a relocation package, one he was sure he'd get. I feel my pulse quicken. Was sure? I type. Her reply comes instantly. He didn't get it, and your document just made it impossible for him to be reconsidered. I stand there in the dark on the quiet suburban sidewalk, a cool breeze lifting my hair. They didn't just gamble our marriage. They gambled their entire future on a promotion that no longer exists. And they did it, expecting me to stay quiet. A slow, steady smile spreads across my face. We're not just in a revenge story anymore. We're in a collapse. And I'm the one holding the blueprint. If there's one thing Maddie has always underestimated, it's how quietly I can work when I'm motivated. Blake underestimated something else. How fast a corporation will turn on someone when their reputation threatens the brand. By Monday morning, I'm back in Harbor's End. Harbor Mart HQ rises over the rusted industrial zone like a glass and steel promise someone made decades too late. The parking lot is full. The building hums with early buzz. Employees line up at security, clutching lattes and scanning badges with the quiet, mechanical precision of office life. I sit in my car for a moment, watching them stream inside, watching the ecosystem Blake believes he controls, watching the place Maddie thought would carry her to the next chapter of her curated life. Today, I introduce entropy. At 8:15 a.m., exactly on schedule, Laura meets me in the visitor parking section. She steps out of her car in a sleek gray coat and sunglasses, despite the cloudy weather. Her expression is calm. Too calm, which tells me she barely slept. Ready? She asks. More than ready, I say. Between us, we're carrying 3 things. 1. A formal complaint signed by both of us detailing Blake and Maddie's off-hours conduct, complete with dates and corroborating statements. 2. A clean, factual summary of the PI report. No salacious details, just times, locations, and patterns. 3. A letter from Jordan addressed to Harbor Mart's legal department, requesting formal acknowledgement of Blake's involvement in influencing an employee's relocation. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. But it's devastating. We walk toward the building entrance with the purposeful stride of people who aren't here to gossip, people who are here to finish something. Inside, security directs us to the front desk. The receptionist tries to make small talk. I don't engage. Laura does, but only in that sweet, icy tone that makes men nervous without knowing why. When we hand over our documents, the receptionist's eyebrows shoot up. I'll notify HR immediately, she says, punching numbers into her phone so fast she nearly drops it. Please do, Laura replies. HR is on the 6th floor. The conference room they put us in has a long, polished table, a water pitcher, and the kind of chairs that look ergonomic, but ruin your spine. Tessa Malone enters 10 minutes later. She's the HR director, sharp bob haircut, neutral-toned clothing, expression like a tax audit dressed as a human. I've only seen her from afar before, but she has the presence of a woman who's had to fire executives twice her size. Mr. Cole, Ms. Turner. She nods. I reviewed the summary your attorneys sent Friday. Today's documents complete the picture. She sits, folds her hands, looks at us as if we're witnesses in a congressional hearing. There will be consequences, she says. Laura leans back, crossing her legs. I assumed so. Tessa's eyes flick to me. Mr. Cole, your wife is technically still under our employment umbrella until her relocation is fully processed. This information will affect that. Do you understand the implications? I do. Are you prepared to be contacted if we require further clarification? Yes. She nods once. Then the investigation starts today. Her tone doesn't change, but something in the air does. Pressure. Something large shifting. Like gears turning in a machine Blake thought he controlled. At 11:42 a.m., right when the lunch crowd surges, Blake and Maddie walk into Harbor Mart HQ. I'm in the lobby with Laura, deliberately visible. Maddie spots me first. Her face freezes in a way I've never seen. Not fear, not anger. Something more fragile. Recognition. The realization that the ground under her feet is no longer stable, and that I'm not here by accident. Blake arrives a few steps later. He sees me and stops so abruptly a man behind him bumps into his shoulder. I smile politely. Maddie storms forward. "What are you doing here?" Laura answers before I can. "We're here for truth and clarity, dear. 2 things you and my soon-to-be ex-husband seem allergic to." Blake grits his teeth. "Laura, don't—" But a voice cuts through the lobby. "Mr. Turner, Ms. Cole, HR will see you now." Every conversation in the lobby softens. Several employees glance over. One man raises his phone slightly, pretending to check something but obviously ready to film. Momentum is a funny thing. Once it builds, you don't stop it. HR herds them toward the elevators. Employees whisper. Someone in a blue suit mutters, "Oh, this is going to be good," as the doors close on the soon-to-be shattered power duo. Laura and I step outside. She inhales deeply. That felt satisfying. "It's not over yet," I say. We walk toward the lot when the doors burst open behind us. Blake, he's red-faced, furious, scanning the area until his eyes lock on me. "You did this," he shouts, marching toward me. People on lunch break stop walking. "You think you can ruin my career?" he demands. "I don't have to ruin anything," I say calmly. "I just pointed people toward the truth." He grabs my shirt collar. I don't move. I don't flinch. I simply raise an eyebrow. "Bad idea," I say. He swings, a sloppy, rushed punch meant more to humiliate than injure. I dodge easily. He stumbles forward, momentum carrying him past me like a malfunctioning puppet. When he turns, I deliver one clean, controlled slap across his jaw, not hard enough for injury, just enough to produce a crisp sound that echoes across the parking lot. Phones come out instantly. Someone gasps. Someone else laughs loudly. Blake stands there in shock, hand to his face. "That," I say, "is for walking into my house." He lunges again, but someone grabs his arm. Tessa. She appears like a summoned demon with perfect posture. "Mr. Turner," she says coldly, "your meeting with HR is not over, and this will be added to the record." He freezes. Maddie rushes out behind her. "Ethan, stop! You're destroying us!" "No," I reply softly. "I'm just watching." Laura smirks. "If you'd like to see destruction, Maddie dear, wait until the divorce attorneys send their list." Security escorts Blake and Maddie inside while employees disperse, buzzing like bees after someone kicked their hive. Laura pats my arm lightly. "Well played." "We're not done," I say. "Oh, I know," she replies, grinning. "That's why I'm staying close." Later that afternoon, Tessa calls my cell. "We've reached a preliminary decision," she says. "Turner will be terminated for policy violations, misuse of company time, and failure to disclose an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate." "And Maddie?" I ask. "She will not be terminated. Yet." A pause. "But her relocation package is revoked. Her job title is suspended pending review, and she is barred from representing the company in any expansion discussions. In other words, the future she bet everything on is gone. Completely gone." Tessa continues, "We appreciate your cooperation. Should any follow-up be required, we will reach out." She hangs up. I sit in my car, staring at the quiet screen. This wasn't loud revenge. It wasn't messy. It was corporate. Clean, efficient, irreversible. An hour later, Laura texts me. "We need to meet. I just learned something." I meet her at a bar across from HQ. The place is dim, filled with after-work chatter and clinking glasses. She slides a document across the table. Blake wasn't just hoping for a promotion, she says. He was promised one, informally, but only if he kept his slate clean and stable. His personal life was flagged twice. HR wasn't convinced he could handle elevated responsibility. I skim the page. It's an internal memo. Blake was on probation, not on track. So they moved, she continues, to prove they were ready, to create the illusion of stability. Fresh start, fresh image. I lean back. And now? She sips her drink. Now he's unemployed, and Maddie's future is sand. The bar noise fades around me. They didn't just gamble their lives. They gambled on a promotion built on a lie. My document didn't destroy their foundation. It revealed they never had one. I stand outside the bar afterward, the evening chill brushing my face. Maddie ruined our life chasing a future that never existed. Blake sacrificed his image for a job he was never going to get. And now the cracks are splitting faster than they can patch them. All that's left is to decide how public the final collapse should be. And where. And who should be watching when it happens. I already know the answer. The condo pool party, the perfect stage, the perfect audience, the perfect ending. There's a specific kind of silence that fills a home right before disaster hits. I hear that silence in my rental when I sit down the next morning with my laptop, a cup of coffee, and a new purpose. Maddie and Blake think in dramatic gestures. They think scandal arrives like a thunderstorm, loud, sudden, unforgettable. They forget the most dangerous kind of storm is fog, quiet, slow, everywhere at once. Step 1 is simple. I join the condo community Facebook group. It's an open group, a typical suburban circus, full of nosy neighbors reporting unpicked dog waste, malfunctioning sprinklers, suspicious teenagers skateboarding near the gate, and debates about which resident keeps grilling salmon at inconvenient hours. They welcome me instantly. Suburbs are eager like that. I wait an hour, browsing. Then I post an anonymous tip using the group's privacy mode, which hides my name from public view. Anyone else notice loud arguments, wine bottles smashing, and balcony shouting from Unit 2B? Asking because the noise kept my kids awake multiple nights this week. I attach nothing. No names, no specifics. I don't have to. 11 responses pour in within minutes. OMG, yes. I heard a man yelling last night. Thought it was a movie. There was music blasting after midnight again. Should we file a complaint? The thread grows. Then someone asks, does anyone know who lives in 2B? I add another comment. Just moved in, looked stressed, maybe a breakup. The neighbors take this nugget and run with it like Olympic sprinters. Within 20 minutes, 2B is the focal point of a building-wide investigation. Theories range from financial trouble to a secret marriage to someone possibly hiding from something. They're not wrong. Around noon, I take a walk around the complex. I'm dressed casually, hoodie, worn jeans, coffee in hand. I blend in. As I pass the community mailbox area, a woman with sunglasses perched on her head stops me. You're the new guy, right? She asks. Her tone says she already knows. Just here short term, I say. She glances conspiratorially toward the row of units. Have you seen the couple in 2B? They're dramatic. I act confused. Dramatic how? She leans closer. Last night, she stormed onto the balcony yelling something about promises, and he was shouting about a burden and ruined chances. I think they're having serious issues. I let out a concerned hum. Hope they figure it out. Me too, she says. This complex prides itself on peaceful living. Peaceful living. Beautiful phrase. It will make its irony sting more later. In the early evening, I return to the upscale bar near Harbor Mart HQ, the same one where young professionals drink overpriced cocktails and trauma dump about their coworkers. I grab a stool near the back, order a soda, and listen. The conversation at the next table is priceless. Did you hear? HR pulled Blake into a meeting today, twice. Twice? That's bad. I heard it's a conflict of interest thing, maybe worse. And Maddie? She looked like she was about to faint in the elevator. Someone said corporate froze their relocation benefits. No way. Way. I don't join in. I just sit and let the whispers ripple outward like a stone dropped into a lake. At one point, I catch a sentence that almost makes me laugh. Imagine moving your whole life for a guy and then losing everything on day 2. Imagine indeed. Around 9 p.m., I return to the rental. Laura is waiting outside the building, leaning against her car. I followed Blake today, she says. He's unraveling. How bad? He threw his gym bag across the parking lot and kicked a trash bin so hard he nearly injured himself. Then he sat in his car for 20 minutes, screaming into his steering wheel. I nod thoughtfully. Stress management at its finest. And Maddie? Laura continues. She hasn't left the apartment except to get takeout. She's been pacing the balcony, probably checking whether neighbors are watching. They are, I say. Laura smirks. Good. They should be. We stand there in comfortable silence for a moment. Then she says, You know the condo association is doing a big community pool gathering this weekend, right? I smile slowly. I do. It's the perfect stage. Exactly. The build-up. The next day, Maddie finally calls. I don't answer. She calls again, ignored. Then she texts, We need to talk. Then, this isn't funny. Then, more desperate, Ethan, please just call me. Please. Please. Interesting choice of tone for someone who moved states without telling me. I don't respond. Silence is its own weapon. By Thursday, every resident in the condo complex knows Unit 2B as the dramatic couple. By Friday, half of Harbor Mart HQ is whispering about Blake's termination paperwork and Maddie's impending disciplinary hearing. By Saturday morning, the tension around them is thick enough to taste. Perfect timing. The condo pool party starts at 4 p.m. Families will be there. Neighbors, dogs, kids, people with camera phones, people who love a public mess as long as it's not theirs, and Maddie, who cannot resist a chance to appear composed in front of strangers. I check my phone. A message from Jordan. Asset updates complete. Partitioning will be finalized Monday. Another from Laura. I'll be at the party early. Blake's going. Maddie too. Another from my rental balcony camera. Unit 2B balcony. Alert. Occupants arguing. They're cracking. Beautiful. By the time the sun begins to set, I have everything I need. Evidence, audience, allies, a stage, and 2 people whose entire future is hanging by a thread they don't even realize I'm holding. Tomorrow evening, at the condo pool party, that thread snaps, and everyone will hear it. Because this time, the collapse won't be quiet. This time, it will be spectacular. The condo pool area looks like a glossy real estate brochure trying too hard. String lights, inflatable loungers, kids splashing in the shallow end, a DJ booth playing upbeat background music that no one actually listens to, neighbors carrying salads and gossip in equal amounts, and right in the center, the stage. Not a real one, of course, just a big open space where everyone naturally clusters. Perfect. I arrive early, wearing a simple shirt, neutral colors, nothing that draws attention. Laura stands by the refreshments table, sunglasses on, expression unreadable. You ready? She asks. For months, I answer. Good, she says, because they just walked in. I follow her gaze. Maddie and Blake arrive like a pair of performers who've forgotten their lines in the middle of the show. She's overdressed, a fitted white sundress that screams, "Please look at me and believe I'm okay." He's underdressed, wrinkled polo, stiff posture, jaw clenched like it's holding his entire life together. Their eyes dart around the gathering. They're expecting the usual compliments. Cute couple, welcome to the neighborhood, love your energy, the fuel they need to keep the lie burning. Instead, people glance. Whisper. Turn away. A few flat-out stare. Because by now, every single person here knows something is wrong, and they want to see how wrong it gets. Maddie spots me across the pool. Her smile cracks, then collapses. "Ethan," she breathes, walking toward me fast, panic flashing behind her eyes. "We need to talk, please, not here." I shake my head. "Here is fine." Blake steps between us, trying to salvage dominance he no longer has. "You can't be here," he snaps. "Public space," I say. "Move." He doesn't, so I simply step around him. That's when the first blow lands, not physical, but digital. At the far end of the pool, a neighbor I spoke with yesterday taps a button on her smart TV mounted on the clubhouse wall. The TV flickers. Everyone turns. A slideshow begins. Not photos of people in swimsuits, not cute dog pictures, screenshots, time-stamped, clean, undeniable. Maddie's shared calendar invites labeled Late Campaign Development, followed by PI-verified timestamps of her arriving at Harbor's End Lodge with Blake. Side by side, gasps ripple through the crowd like a wave hitting the shoreline. Maddie's face drains of color. "Turn that off," she cries, voice breaking. But the neighbor shrugs innocently. "It's just cycling through what was sent to the community email list." Community email list. Not real, of course, but she doesn't know that. Screenshot after screenshot loads. The message where she told me, "By the way, we moved to another state." The full timestamp where she sent it. The PI clip outline of Blake picking her up afterward. Each slide is worse than the last. Maddie stumbles backward, like the air is leaving her lungs. Blake grabs her arm, whispering something frantic. But the crowd is fully awake now, eyes devouring every detail. Children stop splashing. Adults stop pretending to care about barbecue. Phones lift, and the screen keeps going. Right on cue, Maddie's phone rings. Loud, clear, on speaker. Jordan's number flashes across the caller ID. She panics. "No, no, no." But she answers. "Ms. Cole," Jordan's voice says, crisp and calm enough to slice steel. "We're following up on the updated financial partition. As of this morning, your prior relocation benefits have been formally rescinded, and the remaining funds from all joint accounts have been legally released to Mr. Cole due to abandonment statutes." The crowd murmurs. Jordan continues, not unkindly, just devastatingly. "Your attorney has been informed. We'll expect signatures by Monday." The call ends. Maddie stands frozen. Her new life, the city, the complex, the promotion, the curated dream, evaporates in the humid evening air. Then Laura makes her move. She steps forward, elegant and cold as glass. "Blake," she says sweetly, "you forgot something." She holds out an envelope. He doesn't take it, so she drops it in front of him. Papers spilling across the concrete. Everyone sees the bold header. Petition for divorce. Grounds. Misconduct. The whispers turn to open murmurs. "Did you know?" "Wow. He moved states with someone else? Is she serious? This is crazy." Blake's face contorts. "Laura, not here." "Exactly here," she replies. "You wanted a new audience. Now you have one." He snaps. He lunges at Laura, not to strike her, but to grab the papers. His movements wild, frantic. Instinct kicks in. I step between them. He shoves me. This time, I don't dodge. I plant my feet, and I shove him back, hard. His shoes slip on the wet concrete beside the pool. He pinwheels, shouts, and splashes headfirst into the deep end. The crowd erupts. Gasps, laughter, phones filming, people backing away like they're watching something sacred and terrible unfold. Blake surfaces sputtering, hair plastered to his skull, shirt clinging awkwardly. He tries to climb out, slips again, goes under for half a second. The lifeguard doesn't even move. Blake's doing this to himself. Maddie screams his name, running toward the edge. I stop her with one lifted hand, not touching her, just standing there, blocking the path. "You ruined everything!" she shouts at me, trembling, mascara streaking down her face. I take one step closer, lower my voice so the crowd leans in. "No, Maddie," I say. You ruined everything. I just made sure you didn't get to keep the pieces. Behind me, Blake coughs water onto the pavement, dragging himself toward the stairs. The crowd is silent now, phones recording, neighbors staring, kids whispering, Laura watching with a satisfied calm. Maddie's lip trembles, her chest rises and falls in short, broken breaths. You can't leave it like this, she pleads. But I already am. Because this is the end. This is the moment. This is the collapse I engineered, step by step, brick by brick, until the tower finally gave way. I turn from her without another word. Laura nods once, a salute, and I walk through the stunned, parted crowd. Blake's wet coughing echoes behind me. Maddie's choked voice fades into the noise. Someone mutters, "Holy hell." Someone else whispers, "Did you record that?" I keep walking. I don't run. I don't look back. Not at the pool. Not at the papers floating on the surface like sinking confetti. Not at the life that once pretended to be mine. I just walk. Straight through the lights. Through the heat. Through the shattering of everything behind me. And when I reach the gate of the complex, I push it open, step through, and let the world behind me burn exactly as it should.